Okay, I think we're live. Hello everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. We hope everyone is having a fantastic Beyond virtual event so far. If you're just joining us now, a big welcome to you and thank you for joining. Today, what we've got right here, this will be an extra special session dedicated to Brexit, which is of course a very relevant and hot topic to a lot of businesses right now. We will be leaving 10 to 15 minutes at the end for audience questions, so please do ask your questions in the chat to be answered by our panel of experts. Brexit continues to exert influence across all areas of online selling, and it's crucial that SMEs are informed of how this may affect their business. The impact is not exclusive to UK businesses. No matter where you are in the world, if you are selling across the UK and Europe, there are changes you may be required to make due to the UK's exit from the EU. We are very fortunate to be joined by industry leaders and experts in some of the key fields where Brexit will be impacting online sellers. I'm absolutely delighted to have with us the tax director and partner at AVASK accounting and business consultants, Melanie Shabangu, the chief operating officer of First Choice Shipping, Pearl Ausch, and last but not least, the head of partnerships at Fruugo, Phil Booker. And the three of our panelists are all here for a discussion on how best to prepare your business and transition for what's ahead. So without further ado, let's move on to our panelists. So please can each of you give an introduction to your company and offering, and we will begin with Melanie.
Okay, thank you very much. And it's so exciting to participate in this awesome event. I know it's been really, really busy ever since this morning for us, where we've got a booth as well. So just a quick introduction about AVASK. We are an accountancy and international firm that helps e-sellers or Amazon sellers or e-commerce sellers to expand into markets across the globe. Right now where I am in the UK, but we've got services as well for the countries in Europe, USA, Australia, and as well as UAE and China. I'm trying to mix China and UAE there together. So yes, that's what we do. We help e-sellers. And of course, for us, I think our main goal is to empower sellers to make sure that, they reach their global potential.
And Melanie, where exactly are you? Where are you calling in from today? In the UK?
Yes, we are down in Southampton, but unfortunately, I'm not in the office. I'm still working from home.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I was going to ask what that beautiful room is, so thanks for clarifying.
Yes, that's my home office.
Very nice. Pearl, on to yourself.
Sure. Okay. So again, hi everybody. Thanks for joining. Thanks, Aaron, for having us and the whole Payoneer team. So my name is Pearl Ausch. I am the Chief Operations Officer here at First Choice Shipping. And what we do is we help sellers ship to Amazon's international FBA locations. So why? Because Amazon does not provide international shipping to their fulfillment centers, unlike helping out sellers ship domestically, because they don't want to get involved with many different things, especially now with what's going to be with Brexit, and we'll talk a little bit more in detail. But in short, we are what Amazon offers you for the domestic shipping. That's what we help with the international marketplace, and we bring you our volume shipping pricing, so you can start with lots of savings in order to expand your international business, especially with Amazon.
Brilliant. And Pearl, you're in New York?
Yeah, I'm in New York. We're in a second lockdown now, so I'm in that area. So that's very exciting. Obviously, it's been tough. It's been very tough. I'm actually in my office now, so I am socially distanced on my own. In the back, you actually could see my kids. I keep them very close, and so that's what's happening in New York right now.
And of course, you've got the big election to come next month, right?
Oh yeah, we're looking forward to that. We're waiting for the madness to be over.
Excellent. All right, thank you, Pearl. And last but not least, Phil.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everybody. My name's Phil Booker. As Aaron mentioned earlier, I'm the head of partnerships at Fruugo.com. We are a global marketplace. We are in selling into 46 countries around the world. So this makes us pretty experienced and pretty knowledgeable on what is involved in sellers selling their goods to a customer in another country. In fact, 85% of all of our sales are cross-border, and that is against a global e-commerce average of 21%. So this is kind of what we know. We make it very, very simple for sellers to sell cross-border, or we did certainly make things simple for sellers to sell cross-border until this Brexit thing came along. So that's what we're all here to talk about today. But yeah, I think that I think there's definitely some questions coming up, but what will make this panel will be questions that come from you, the audience today, because you're the ones that have the concerns, and I hope that between Mel, between Pearl and myself, that we can answer your questions. But yeah, that's us, and I look forward to very much participating over the next hour.
Brilliant, thank you for that, Phil. And you, on a personal level, you've got a very interesting perspective on Brexit, because you're actually a Brit living in Spain, right?
I am, yes. So I think that my personal experience of this against what I have to work commercially can sometimes, my personal wishes against what I want to see happening commercially can sometimes clash. But very much wearing the corporate hat today.
Excellent. Okay, so before I ask the next question, I'm just going to try and launch a poll. Hopefully this works. So everybody in the audience, if you could please head to the poll section and submit your answer. And hopefully the results will pop up soon. Let's see. If not, I will move on and then we'll come back to the results. Yeah, we're going to move on and then we'll come back to the results. Okay, so the first real question about Brexit, and we'll start with Pearl. What are the biggest pain points your customers are feeling with Brexit, Pearl?
Yeah, so the biggest pain points, obviously, I'm not so sure if everybody's aware, but Amazon is completely changing their business model in the EU. So right now what's happening is the UK is separating from the rest of the EU. And with that, Amazon is actually changing their EFN program, which is the European Fulfillment Network program, as well as the Pan-EU program. And just to give everybody an idea of what those programs were and what's changing. So the EFN program basically meant that I could ship my goods to the UK, and then Amazon is going to go ahead and fulfill it to all my customers. And then I was able to ship my goods directly to Germany, and then Amazon would fulfill it to my customers, so on and so forth, France, Germany, Italy, and Spain, and the UK. Then there's the Pan-EU program, which was a great program that a lot of larger sellers were utilizing, which was I'm shipping my goods to one location, which is, let's say, the UK, which was the most popular place people have shipped to. And then what Amazon did is they actually took my goods and they distributed it to all their fulfillment centers in the entire EU, France, Germany, Italy, and Spain. And what that helped is that what most people might or might not know is when your product is closer to your customer that places the order, when they're searching for your product, it's actually going to come up higher in the rankings. So what people did is they did the Pan-EU program. So let's say their product was closer to their Germany customers. When it came to, let's say, if I'm selling peanut butter, right? And there's another seller that's selling peanut butter as well. If I was, and happens to be, that's a pretty popular product in Germany, just saying, they love American products. But the reason why people will do that is because I was the one selling the peanut butter and I was using the Pan-EU program. And let's say, Aaron, you decide to purchase and you search for it, my product would have come up on the first page versus someone else that hasn't been utilizing this program might have come up on the second, third, or fourth page because their product wasn't close to the customer and Amazon hasn't ranked their product high enough. So what's happening now is because there's going to be Brexit happening and UK is going to be detaching from the rest of the EU, Amazon is suspending the Pan-EU program December 31st. What's changing is that the rest of the EU, France, Germany, Italy, and Spain will have Pan-EU, but you're going to have to start shipping separately. It's not going to be anymore that I could just ship to the UK and then Amazon is going to go ahead and distribute to all their warehouses. I'm going to have to ship to the UK as one entity, and then I'm going to be able to ship to, let's say, Germany or Italy, and have that as my place where Pan EU is going to be distributed. So it's something that people are going to have to get used to. Obviously, it's a pain point. People are going to have to start figuring out, is my inventory high or low in 2 places versus 1, and figuring out how to ship to Germany properly, which is something that most sellers are not savvy with at all at the moment.
Thanks, Pearl. And yeah, I guess that's something that you're already helping your customers with right now to prepare for that change.
Exactly. So what needs to happen is that you need to have physical representation in Germany. And that's something that we're helping with. And we have a beta program right now doing quite a few shipments going directly to Germany into Amazon to ensure everything is working properly, that come December 31st, that everything should be working properly without any hiccups.
Thanks, Pearl. Same question to yourself, Melanie. What's the biggest pain points your customers are feeling with Brexit right now?
Yeah, just to allude on what Pellis just said, I would say it's going to be definitely the distribution of inventory, the countries as to where the inventory is supposed to be shipped to, because most of the clients that we've got, they've always shipped directly into the UK. We've always had the minority that will just ship directly into Germany or all the other marketplaces, but it's now just changing how you were doing things as a business and putting that structure in place that is going to work. I feel like 2020 is bringing in so much changes in all directions, to be honest, as a business. It's sort of like making us feel very uncomfortable. There isn't anything that's happening in 2020 where you think that, oh, I was doing this next year, so I'm going to continue. It's putting that plan in place right now and ensuring that, you know, you don't become stuck come the 1st of January. And again, making sure that you've got a good strategy that is going to be covering all your areas of inventory shipments and also storage.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Melanie. And finally, Phil, same question to yourself.
It's interesting because a lot of the pain points that we are hearing from our customers are actually centered around the areas that both Pearl and Melanie are experts in, and that is the logistic element of it and the tax element of it. As a marketplace, we're actually fully prepared for the changes that the changes that are afoot as they stand now today. We know that, as a marketplace, that we can continue to sell products, into the EU for our UK sellers, and actually there's huge advantages coming up for rest of world shoppers selling back into the UK. So yes, it's the logistics questions and it's the tax questions which we have knowledge of. But actually, we're sat here on a panel today with 2 people that know a lot more about that. Yeah.
And as a marketplace, Phil, right now, as we approach the end of the year, is this a common theme in terms of your marketplace sellers asking you these types of questions?
I wouldn't. It's almost like the conversation. A lot of times, almost the conversation that people don't want to have. They're sort of, they're burying their heads and hoping that the deal's going to come about. So that all we can do as a marketplace is be prepared to either point them in the right direction if it's a tax or a logistics question. But when it comes to ourselves as to whether or not we can operate, and we are getting those questions, then the answer is yes. But it's possibly not as much of a conversation, as you would expect. Especially as we're coming into a very, very busy Q4. And I think a lot of sellers are just, sort of very much focusing on making the most of that.
Yeah, it makes sense. And the answers to the poll have come in. The question was, do you have a clear idea of how Brexit will impact your business and how best to prepare? And 66% have said no and 33% have said not sure. So I think this gives a pretty fair representation of the feeling among businesses right now. So, Melanie, I'll direct this question to yourself, and this is on the back of this and something you mentioned just a couple of minutes ago. But with it still not being clear whether a deal between the UK and EU will be done, what does this uncertainty mean for online sellers, and how can they best position their business to protect themselves from this risk?
Yeah, so I would say where there isn't really that clear path as to which direction it's going to go, how things are going to pan out, I would say number one, you just need to ensure that you've got sufficient inventory come the 31st of December in order to mitigate the possibility of having charges that are being imposed for goods that are leaving, in particular the UK, into Europe. Because you remember when you done the shipment, when it came through the UK, you might have paid import VAT and also duties. What you want to avoid is to be double charged on that. Import VAT is okay. It's an international tax. It's recoverable. That's fine. But the duty, the extra duty that you will have to pay in the event that when the inventory goes through into Europe, that expense you're not going to be able to recover. So I would say that just ensure that you've got sufficient inventory to cover you during that period. And also it's ensuring that you've got a EURI number in place, for Europe, because I would take it most of the people that are based in the UK, they don't have a EURI number for Europe, and vice versa. The ones that are in Europe, they don't have also a EURI number for the UK. So which means if they're going to be shipping into the UK. And one thing that is very important, and I've seen this in some of the groups that are going on online, whereby people saying that I'm going to have to stop now shipping into the UK because there's going to be huge problems. The UK is sort of like sorted its position. What it's done, they've introducing some rules that are going to be there in place, whereby there's going to be a deferment scheme on import VAT. So which means if you're coming through from Europe, you're shipping into the UK, you've got a 6 months deferment scheme whereby you're not going to be paying any import VAT or any duties in place, and vice versa if you're coming outside the country. Now, Europe has not made that clarification and stand on their side as far as like what are they going to be doing with goods that are coming through into the UK. So I'm thinking that they will make sure that there is duties that are going to be in place. It's preparing for the worst with the view that, if things pans out in such a way that there isn't any duties paid, absolutely great. But if there will be duties that are paid, just ensure that there is sufficient inventory. You've got that EURI number for the UK or for Europe. And also if you're outside Europe or UK and you've got a EURI number for any of these two parts of the scope, which is Europe and also UK, make sure that you have one for either countries. That is very, very important, I think, as part of the preparation that you need to ensure that you do.
Got it. And Pearl, this is a very relevant area for yourself. Is there anything that you can expand on there in terms of how SMBs can really prepare for this uncertainty?
Yeah, so I think Melanie had some really great valid points there, and just to add on to that, shipping into Germany, right, is going to become, I would say, either the #1 place or a very close second. I personally, from the data that we see that Germany is probably going to become the #1 place people will ship to, and then the UK will become the second. So to Melanie's point, just to elaborate a little bit more, to get a VAT number for Germany is very, very important right now, especially the fact that it does take about 3 months until you get a VAT number there. And EURI number, VAT number is, you're going to get the same, you're going to get both at the same time of registration. So yeah, I would say very important that you go ahead and register immediately. And I know Melanie and her team do a great job with that. And about the shipping part, to add on a bit more, we were saying something about the taxes, Melanie. Great point on that. Do be aware that, like you said, you're going to ship from the EU into the UK or vice versa. There will be taxes because you're going to be passing through a border. Yeah. Do make sure that you're not shipping all of your inventory to one of these places. You want to find either a 3PL or try to like reduce the amount that you're shipping into the fulfillment centers from Amazon if you're doing FBA directly, and don't bring in your full inventory to either the UK or your full inventory to Germany, because then you're going to be subject to paying taxes, import taxes again when you're entering into one of those countries again.
Got it. Great. Thank you for that. And Phil, from the perspective of a marketplace, what's your thoughts and advice for sellers? I mean, from your perspective, Fruugo, you give your sellers access to 20 plus countries across
40. Well, it's 46 countries, and you've hit the nail on the head there. Actually, is that the best way that we can help our sellers prepare for the eventualities of a no deal or what's going on is the fact that there's a lot of other countries out there that are not within the EU, and we know how to sell into those countries. We know what the rules and regulations are. We know how to generate the traffic. We know how to talk to the shoppers in those countries. So if you're already selling cross-border, the chances are you're working with a really, really decent logistics company that's already giving you great rates for selling into the EU. Speak to them now about what are your rates for selling into other countries, because there's every chance that you may have some countries that are your major markets at the moment, and for a period of time it may become more difficult for you to sell into those. So working with a marketplace like Fruugo, or working with some other country domestic marketplaces outside of the EU might be the way that you can best prepare yourself at this stage. And it's definitely not too late. If your products aren't on there, then the marketplace can't sell them.
And Phil, it's really interesting because you mentioned a no-deal Brexit there, so I think that takes us on nicely to our next question. So I'll stick with yourself for this one, if that's okay. In practice, what implications would a no-deal Brexit have on online sellers?
Well, there's some real irony in this because it's kind of the Brits that started this, wasn't it? We're the ones that came up with this whole Brexit thing. And the ironic thing is that as of the 1st of January, the opportunities of a no-deal Brexit, there is huge opportunities for rest of world sellers to start selling into the UK. All marketplaces in the UK will be charging VAT themselves on every single good that's being sold, and paying that to the UK revenue. For sellers outside of the UK that want to sell it, suddenly they don't need to register for VAT. There's a £135 per, or confirm or deny. There's a £135 threshold on goods before duty it needs to be paid. So that's either by goods or by consignment. And it's going to be really, really easy for you to be able to start selling in the UK. So the irony is that it's not the other way around. So for UK sellers selling into the EU, a no-deal Brexit it's going to be tedious. The opportunities are still there. The sales avenues are still there, whether or not that's through marketplaces, whether or not that's through you doing your own sales, generating traffic through whatever means. But actually physically getting your goods in there means that you either need to become an expert in 2 or 3 areas, or you work with great companies like Melanie's company. Or you're working with a logistics partner that's able to give you all of that advice. Now, the date for it making it easier for UK sellers to sell into the EU at the moment is the 1st of July, which is when the same rules will apply to marketplaces in the EU, so that any sales that are made on that for UK sellers will be charged by the marketplace, and that should make things easier. But that 1st of July isn't set in stone. So I think there is a brilliant opportunity. I mean, this is a global event. I'm assuming that the people that are listening to this are from all over the globe, and the message to them, if you're not a UK seller, is the UK is very much open for business. It is the second. It's the second largest or the first largest, or certainly on a par with the when it comes to the largest e-commerce markets, one of the top 2 e-commerce markets in Europe, alongside Germany. Fill your boots. If you're a UK seller and you are focused and a large chunk of your business is based within the EU, it's time to get some advice literally today, and at the same time start looking at markets outside of the EU until this whole thing is settled down.
Yeah, great. It's a really, really strong message, and I think an important one. Pearl, how about yourself? What if you were to say what to your customer? What's the biggest difference that's going to be whether the UK gets a deal with the EU or it's a no-deal Brexit come January 1st? What's the biggest difference?
So, for that, when it comes to the taxes, that's really not my expertise. But what I could say from my side and what I'm saying is that this is the opportunity for the ones that are ready to delve into something that might seem a little unfamiliar and a little scary, as some people would say. I think that the biggest winners are going to be the ones that are actually jumping into it now and listening to experts like Phil and Melanie and listening to their advice and just going with the flow, because at the end of the day, a lot of people are going to drop out because some people, we see a big trend in a lot of people wanting to expand into other marketplaces like Canada. Canada became a very popular place now. And for this exact reason, people are a little bit hesitant to see, let's just wait, let's see what's going to happen. And it's like this with every new marketplace. We always say that the newer marketplaces, let's say with Amazon, they recently launched in Singapore. And we see again and again and again, the ones that are the first ones to actually ship. And yes, it takes time until we figure things out, and it takes time until your listings are ranking properly and all that, and Amazon advertising might not be available. But for those marketplaces, right? But those are the ones that are the winners a few months down the line, because they're the ones that took the risk. And at the end of the day, they have a lot more leverage when things settle down. So from my end, what I see based on, the new marketplaces that have been emerging, it's always been the ones, those top 100 sellers that are so successful in the US and are always ready to take the risk. They're the ones that are always killing it. So I think the same with us, deal, no deal. The ones that are ready to take the ride are the ones that are going to be the winners at the end of the day.
Brilliant. Very, very strong message as well. Thank you for that. And Melanie, how about yourself?
So I would say from my side is it's exactly the same, that, like I said before, is that we're seeing other people that are looking at this opportunity and thinking that, it means that the UK is going to be out of action now just because there's Brexit. There won't be any shoppers online. UK still represents a huge opportunity for sellers. And I would say not just UK, Europe as a whole, it represents a huge opportunity. Now, if you look at the numbers of online sellers, I think if I'm not mistaken, just in Germany alone is about 245,000, UK around 216,000. And if you look at the money that comes out from the UK on e-commerce side, UK is one of the biggest online, not just Amazon, online shoppers, whereby we spend about 2,500 euros per year per household, and Europe is spending another 1,600. Now, if you compare that, I would say the deal or no deal Brexit, it shouldn't deter you from doing what you've got to do as a business. I just want to encourage everyone that is out there. Right now, we are running a promotion with Amazon about customs representation, whereby Amazon has put us in there because they want us to be in a position whereby we can guide people to navigate through all these things that are going on. I know First Choice is absolutely fantastic with shipments, whereby you guaranteed they're going to get to the destination, but it's not all shipping companies out there that will ensure that the shipment gets into its final destination. It's going to be blocked. I've had some clients whereby their shipments, they've been blocked at customs, whereby they can't ship it. They need more information. It's just having that person that is going to be advising you. I think right now it's you linking up with industry experts and speaking to people, and people will not be charging you for any consultation for having a chat as far as like what is it that you need to do. Because again, even though we've got the Brexit, the situation from one company to the next is going to be totally different. So I would say from your side, connect with the industry experts that are going to be helping you around what is going on the Brexit side. By end of this week, there will be new stories that are going to be coming up as far as like the meetings that the leadership in this country and also in Germany that are leading the Brexit, what sort of like what they've discussed. We're going to know by end of this week as far as like what's going on, and it's talking to the people that are going to be in a position to sort of like, you know, explain exactly what is it that you've got to do as a seller.
Yeah, fantastic. I think you've hit the nail on the head there. It's just surrounding yourself with the right partners, the right companies to provide you with the right information at the right time and get you through this. And on this call, we've got some of the best in the business. Melanie, I just want to stick with you because Phil mentioned a few minutes ago about some upcoming VAT changes coming up next year.
Yeah.
I think you'd be the best person to explain this. We have the marketplaces deemed supplier chain change coming up in 2021.
Yeah.
It'd be great if you could explain this for the audience.
Okay. So 2021, especially January, is coming up with a lot of changes in rules. There is the basic customs requirements. There is the 6 months to complete your customs declaration. There is the UK global tariffs that are going to be in place in the UK, which means, which goes back to what I was saying, is that make sure that you've got the person that's going to be in a position to explain all those things that are going on. And you've got also whereby the marketplaces will now be the deemed suppliers for the product, especially if you are doing the likes of FBA. If you are selling on your websites, on Shopify, absolutely fine. The declaration is going to be normal. The Amazons, the eBays, and Frugo as well, where they are being deemed as the suppliers, it means that they will be the ones that are declaring the VAT to customs for each and every sale that has actually taken place. Now, that doesn't mean that there's no compliance that needs to be done by your end, because you still need to show the sales that are taking place in your market store, but it's going to be more like a reverse charge, because you're not going to be paying the VAT because it would have been paid by the marketplace. So you're not going to be paying the VAT, but you will still need to make sure that you do the declaration. Now, remember, import VAT, the shipping company First Choice was charging you for import VAT and customs duties on that one invoice. Now, this extension, what it means is that they're not going to be doing that now. So, which means that's going to be declared under your VAT return. So for the first 6 months, at least, you won't have any initial outlay of import VAT that is going on. Good news for my clients or for my sellers is that, you look at it in two ways. So the good news is you will have more money, more cash flow, more cash flow available in the accounts, which means you're going to be able to reinvest. But come 1st of July, then the declaration needs to be available. So where you were not paying the import VAT, you also need to make sure that you are keeping all the paperwork for all the shipments that's been coming through. So sort out your paperwork, make sure that for each and every shipment, you have the paperwork with you. Do not leave it with your freight forwarder or your shipping company. Have it with you, because you're going to be using this in your VAT return or when the declaration opens up from the 1st of July. So I would say that's one thing so there's cash flow on one hand. On the other hand, there is paperwork that's needs to be available for when you start the declaration. Now, other people may turn around and say, well, if I'm going to be doing a VAT return anyway on a quarterly basis, I'll be carrying out the declaration via that route. That is absolutely fine. You can do that. You can do the disclosure of your shipments via your VAT return. But to be honest, you've got you've got a choice of just deferring it for the next 6 months and not worrying about it. Reinvest the other cash that's that side. If you're not going to be reinvesting the cash, keep the cash in the business, but know that, of course, there is the import part. The good thing is that the import VAT, anyway, it's refundable. So you will not be in a position whereby you're paying it to the customs authorities, because Amazon will be selling your products on the other hand, Frugal will be selling your products on the other hand, so you don't have to worry about that. It's the paperwork bit that is very, very much important, whereby you need to make sure that you keep that in place. And now, of course, there's going to be the introduction of the global tariffs. So ensure that you don't just go on the point that, oh, my HS code has always been X amount of, this is my HS code or commodity code. Make sure that that is checked. You can't rely on the previous information that you had in 2020. Ensure that you check that. And again, who is responsible for making sure that that is correct? You as a seller, not the shipping company, not myself who's going to be acting as your customs broker or whatsoever, or your VAT agent. I'm not responsible for it. I will support you to ensure that that information is correct. But at the end of the day, the responsibility lies with you. So we'll discuss it that from my side, this is what I think the HS code is supposed to be, but it's your responsibility to make sure that you are shipping your products correctly. There's going to be extra scrutiny. And I don't know how practical is that each and every shipment that's going through, whether from the UK to Europe or coming straight through Europe, but we've been told that there will be extra scrutiny that's going to be there on shipments, which means each and every product is going to be checked. So again, it's making sure that you have got the correct details there where HS coding is concerned. So I would say that's just the top level of what's going on at the moment. And again, you can reach back out to us and we can really, again, work according to your situations and how your business is run and how it's going to be affecting you.
Wow. So bottom line is the marketplaces will be collecting and paying the VAT, but the seller is still obliged to be registered and file for their VAT.
Correct. They won't be paying it now like they were doing before, whereby I was doing the calculations, passing them on to the seller, advising them that you've got to pay X amount of money. So they won't be doing that now because Amazon or Frugal or all the other marketplaces that are there, eBay, they will be remitting that to the tax authority. Now, let's get this straight. That is for the United Kingdom only. Europe, it's got their own rules that are kicking in as from the 1st of July, 2021. Whether they will be able to implement those rules in 2021, only God knows, because, you know, you're talking about 27 countries whereby they've got to be totally aligned with everything that they are doing. They've got to harmonize or align on the way they are collecting VAT, but yet the VAT numbers, the VAT rates, they are not aligned at all. You've got countries that charge 23%, others 21, 22, 20%, 19%. Now, you're trying to put that in one system and make sure that all the other countries in Europe that have got archaic systems, you know, that are not used today, whereby they still believe in paperwork, in wet signature, you're trying to make them to be digital. So we're yet to see how those rules pan out. They were supposed to be in place on the 1st of January, but because of COVID, of course, they pushed the date further to make sure that they are giving themselves enough time. And again, when those rules come into play in Europe, we will let you guys know when that happens. But right now, we're clear very clear with what's going on in the UK, because everything they've put it into place. And now let me just add on that, Aaron, the deferral of the import VAT, that is just not for Europe to UK. It's the whole world. It's worldwide. So which means anything that comes through to the United Kingdom is going to be subjective to those rules.
Interesting, really insightful, and I find it really interesting that the way that you can manage things in the next 6 to 9 months can actually have a big difference on your cash flow as a business as well, which this can help your business grow. So yeah, thank you for that, Melanie.
I have a lot of notes, Melanie.
Pearl, you and your company, you're helping thousands of businesses import their goods into Europe. Melanie had mentioned things such as HS codes, import VAT. Is there anything that you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, so Melanie, you were talking a lot on the UK side, and I do want to make sure that people are aware of how Germany has been operating, all these years. And it's not something that's going to be new, but it's going to be something new to a lot of people because they haven't been importing that way till now. Germany is known to be very correct and very straight when it comes to customs. So it is extremely important that you're declaring your goods properly. And like Melanie, you said, making sure the HS codes, the commodity codes are right. Additionally, you do want to make sure that your description that you're writing out, the item description, is perfectly clear. For example, if you are shipping clothing, just writing clothing is not going to be good enough. You're going to want to be very descriptive and write, I am shipping not only socks, let's say, you're going to want to write children's socks, or, underwear. You're going to want to write children's underwear. And of course, not only because of Germany being very, stickler for the details, but also because you could have certain categories that will have different types of items that will have different levels of taxes. So you're going to want to save yourself on taxes. For example, children's clothing across the board in most countries is going to be a cheaper tax than shipping adult clothing. So for these reasons, you're also going to want to make sure it's very descriptive. And of course, your values. You do want to make sure you're being very, very clear and very correct with your value, and that you have documents to back it up in case they're going to come and ask you for it, because that is there's a very big chance that they will. So just want to make sure to point out that Germany, out of all these EU countries, being that it's going to become a very big shipping point, you do want to make sure you're declaring properly and that you're putting down your descriptions very clearly. And if you need help with finding the right HS code, yes, that's something we could definitely help you with, but just ask, right? It doesn't hurt to ask. And as long as you ask, you're going to be on the safe side.
Yeah. Can I just add there on Pal, Aaron, that, the paperwork that you are providing to the customs at the moment, I think most sellers would turn around and say the invoice is going to be the one that is very, very important. It's no longer that anymore, whereby the packing slip and all the other bits, you just airway bill, you're putting it aside and probably you're shredding it. You honestly do not be complacent with those that information or data. Make sure that you keep in place each and everything. Have those information in place, and I know it's a lot of paperwork, but keep it, save it, because should they come back in the future and say we are going to be doing a compliance check on your shipments, which is one thing that people think that, HMRC or the government in Germany, the Finanzamt, is going to only just be checking only the VAT that I've paid. So right now, it's not going to be about just the VAT, the sales VAT. It's going to be about what's coming through customs. So paperwork, please make sure that you keep that safe.
Brilliant. Thank you, Pearl. Thank you, Melanie. And Phil, as a marketplace, what are you doing, or what have you done to ensure that A, that Fruugo is compliant, and B, that you're supporting your sellers in the right way?
Well, regarding Frugo being compliant, we are already well versed in how we make sales, either collecting VAT on behalf of our sellers and passing that back to them to pay to their local, their domestic revenue, or if we're already set up for doing this in the way that we have to in the UK from the 1st of January, in charging VAT at the point of sale and passing that back to where the sale has been made, because we do that in Australia, we do that in Norway, I think we do that in New Zealand as well. So we as a marketplace, almost by default, are perfectly set up for doing this. On top of that, we're in 46 countries. Amazon are in 13. So we have got a really, really broad knowledge of what needs to be done here in collecting, in making sales and collecting sales tax. With thousands and thousands and thousands of different rates that we have to deal with as a marketplace. So we feel that we're very prepared. We know how the way that we're going to market and continue selling goods will not change. We will do exactly the same. It's just a matter of supporting our sellers as best as we can. With any changes, there's going to be changes. Everyone's in total agreement there. There's going to be changes. So if you could diversify to spread your risk, I think it was Pearl that said, don't put all your goods in one country. Then that will be a sensible thing.
Yeah, I think one thing that's interesting is all three of you have mentioned various things on this call that really resemble opportunity, and not everything is negative when it comes to Brexit. So, Pearl, I'll direct this question to yourself first. Does Brexit represent any opportunities for online sellers, and if so, what are they?
Yeah, so I think that, Phil, what you said earlier about the direct, the merchant fulfilled kind of model is a huge opportunity for sellers, especially now that the threshold is being increased to about, I think it was 135 pounds, right? Is that what you guys were telling me? So if that's what's happening, what we like to advise sellers before doing FBA, if you don't want to go ahead and just take the risk and, let's say, getting stuck with product storage at Amazon, you might want to take that merchant fulfilled model and start with that first. Take your top 10 listing, let's say in the US, if that's where your main selling point is right now, and list those products and start with a merchant fulfilled model. And that usually could tell you and give you a good idea of which products are actually going to work for me. And then go ahead and send in, inventory into FBA. And of course, you're going to see a better conversion that way. Usually it's an 80% increase in conversion when you're doing FBA. But I would say that it is a very good opportunity, especially now. You're talking about it going from 20 pounds to 150, 107, 135 to be exact. If you're going to go with this model, you have a bigger chance of taking less of a risk, right? You're not investing that much. And at the same time, you're getting very good data very quickly. And then you could go ahead and expand on a bigger scale.
Brilliant. Thank you, Pearl. And Phil, same question to yourself.
I was thinking sort of on my feet whilst Pearl was giving her answer there. I've already touched on that on the point that the UK is very much open for business. So that presents a massive opportunity for non-UK sellers selling into the UK, which is one of the biggest markets. If you're a UK seller, there's a chance that non-UK sellers are going to be at this stage somewhat concerned about selling in the UK because they don't know what Brexit means to them, and the chances that there may well be less competition for you to be selling to the UK audience, to the UK shopping audience from overseas sellers, because there's so much uncertainty. We're already, we've already had, EU sellers telling us that, as of the 1st of January, they're just, they want to stop selling within the UK, and set themselves up for that. So it is an opportunity, and I don't know how long that opportunity will last, because I'm still very, very confident that things will balance out. Things are going to get sorted out. The fact is that, look, no, we mustn't get political. No, I was going to say, I think everybody wants a deal, okay? We're having to prepare for not having a deal. Even if there isn't a deal, things will balance out. So there is opportunity. UK sellers, probably less competition in selling within your domestic market. So get more listings on more different marketplaces that can sell to a UK audience. If you're not a UK seller and you're looking at the UK, as I keep saying, very much open for business, and it's hugely easy. It's so quick for you to be able to now get listed and start selling.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you, Phil. I'll go to Melanie before we then get a couple of audience questions. If there are any more audience questions, please ask them now. But Melanie, question to you: what is, in your mind, the biggest opportunity with Brexit for online sellers?
Yeah, I would say these guys, they've literally just mentioned the opportunities that are there. I would repeat myself if I would have to say anything else. But what I've done is I want our sellers to be as prepared as much as possible. So I've put in a list of a few things that I want them to be prepared about. They already know, the industry experts have talked about the opportunities that are there. For me, I would just say, you need to just make sure that you've got a VAT number and a URI number for you to be able to remain successful in this beyond 2020. And also ensuring that your classification of your products is 100% correct, and also your documentation is available. And again, talking to the people that are acting on your behalf as the importers, and of course, and the fact that there are going to be rules for people that are doing agriculture and plant-based products. Look out for the rules that are there that are going to be in place, and also thinking about the fact that there are countries like the Republic of Northern Ireland. It's got some specific rules that are not the same as here in the UK, and also you confirm if you qualify for the simplification of import VAT that is going to be available in the UK. Once you've taken all those steps, and I'll say you've got no reason as to why you'll be a winner at the end of the day.
Brilliant. Okay, I can see that a few questions have been answered by Pearl already, so thank you, Pearl, for that. I think that this is a good question from the audience. What country is best to import into in the EU? I think this is an interesting one because we've been talking about holding stock in the EU and importing directly into the EU. So let's start this with Pearl. What do you think?
Yeah, so there's a couple options over here. So from Amazon's side, what they're pushing right now is shipping into Italy. The reason being, it takes about 2 days or about a week to get a VAT number, and to kickstart the whole EU, like what we spoke earlier on the EU side, Italy would be a great place to start. The downside to that is that Italy is a smaller base for Amazon, so they don't have that big of an operation, and they don't have capacity to be able to handle so much. So it's a good stepping stone, but it's a good stepping stone that you should eventually then go into Europe, Germany. And then there is an option with the Netherlands. The Netherlands is a free zone that a lot of people are going to be starting to use for storage. They're going to be shipping their goods over there and then either do merchant fulfilled orders straight from that place, or it's just a place to store their inventory and then go ahead and ship into Amazon once inventory is low. So that's another option. And I think, Melanie, you could speak a little bit more on, the VAT implications of the Netherlands and why people are choosing that location. And then obviously the UK is a separate entity now. So you're going to have to ship to the UK if you want to continue operating over there. So just to summarize, Italy, we recommend, just because our partners at Amazon are saying that this is a good option, and I can understand that. If you're in a rush and you want to get started quickly, you could get a VAT number in just under a week. Germany takes about 3 months. So just to get started, you could get your VAT number going in Italy, ship your inventory there, and then you're going to have pan EU for the entire EU, which is France, Germany, Italy, and Spain, and then eventually move over into Germany or use Netherlands as a facility. They do not have FBA Amazon, but you could use a warehouse. We personally recommend using Global eCommerce on GEE, which Melanie is a partner with as well, and she could attest to their service, and it's great. So Melanie, I think it would be great if you could talk about the Netherlands and why people are excited about that.
Yeah. So I would say from our side, and of course, Pal, you are totally right. For most of the sellers that we are assisting already, they've got about 3, 4, 5 VAT numbers already, or 7 VAT numbers in Europe. So what I am telling those sellers is that if you already have got VAT number in Germany, of course, or the Netherlands, Netherlands is great. It's great from the point that you don't need a fiscal representation if you are shipping or storing goods in the Netherlands. Now, the Netherlands, there isn't any FC of what you call of Amazon. So again, it's going to be feeding nicely. It's sitting in between Germany and France. Italy is down there as well, which means that your inventory could easily be distributed into these countries nicely. But you need to have a VAT number for the Netherlands for you to be able to store those products. Now, again, global e-commerce experts, they've got a fulfillment center in the Netherlands. I'm sure Andy Hooper would be able to assist you with that. And then the second one for us, I would say for me, is Germany. Germany is no-brainer. However, like Pal said before, the paperwork has to be squeaky clean, and there might be an extra requirement for you when you're shipping into Germany, like having somebody who is going to be doing the clearance of your products into Europe. Now, we're running a program with Amazon on that. I think some of the people that are here will get the promotion with Amazon, whereby we can assist with the paperwork for anybody that wants to ship into Germany, or they've got their product stuck, whereby German tax authorities, they want more information. So for me, I would say Germany is better from the point whereby it's the biggest market, it's near Poland and Czech Republic. Chances are Amazon will take that inventory and ship it on into the other countries for you that is neighboring Germany, should they not have enough space. So I would say for me, that's what I'm seeing. It's working for the people that have the VAT number though in Germany. If you don't have, Italy is the best one, because 2 days we've got a VAT number and a Euro number as well.
Brilliant. All right, I think we could probably do another hour pretty easily, to be honest. It's so much insight and value coming out of this session. We've got 2 minutes left. Before we end, I just want to encourage everyone. Fruugo, First Choice Shipping, AVASK, they all have virtual booths at this event. I encourage you to go to their booths in the expo hall. Please speak to them. They can really help you when it comes to Brexit. Fruugo is an amazing marketplace to sell on. So just quickly for all three of you, I'll start with yourself, Phil. Just some parting words, final tips from yourself.
Diversification. The big players, their models are having to shift. Things are going to be uncertain. It's going to take a while for things to settle down. You've probably been used to selling into some significant EU markets, and that may literally change. And it won't even be on the 1st of January. Amazon have already released their dates for when changes are going to be made. So the only way you're going to be able to diversify is by starting to list on other marketplaces. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased. We would like to see, we'd like to see sellers selling with us. But I'll finish on saying, actually, we're quite choosy. We're quite picky. If we take a seller, this means that we are very, very confident that we can sell your product, because all of the marketing spend is ours. So diversification, whether or not it's with us, as a global marketplace, whether or not it's with country-specific ones, but that will be what we think people should do.
Great. Pearl, over to you.
Yes, I think I'm just going to repeat what I said earlier about the opportunity is now, because again, I feel based on what we've seen across all the years of us helping sellers expand, the ones that are going to do it today are the ones that are going to be in it for the long run. So take the opportunity, educate yourself and educate yourself and educate yourself. Knowledge is power. So if you're going to do it today, you'll be in the game tomorrow. And that's all I have to say.
Great. Melanie, final words.
Final words, strategize, pivot, don't get bogged down with the rules and reading too much stuff on the internet, because it's still going to be the same. You're going to confuse yourself even further. Speak to one person, know what you've got to do, put the action down, write down your action points, and I would say happy 2021.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, guys. And thank you, everyone, for joining. We hope to see you in the networking and the expo hall, etc. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
See you later. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh. Don't know how to end up.